Hey everybody, we're here at the two-stamp mill out at Goffs, and this is my friend Ryan, who's a docent here, as well as a certified stamp mill operator. And he's going to go over a little bit about this particular mill and its history, and a little bit of backstory to what Goffs is. Take it away, buddy.
Okay, well, Miss Hauser would probably say, "Welcome to Goffs Gold. This is amazing. Get a shot of that." So this mill is from, I think, 1891, and if you get a shot out there, you can see a mountain way out in the distance with a flat top on it. Sort of looks like it has two peaks. That's Table Mountain, and that's where this mill was stationed originally. When they moved it here, I think it was about 20 years ago. About 5 years afterward, there was a big fire out there that destroyed everything that was left, and this would have been gone had they not brought it here already.
Well, that's pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah.
It's a good thing they rescued it.
Got it running. They got it restored. So this is the Stotts mill. The guy who owned this originally wasn't a miner or prospector, but the miners in the surrounding hills would all go to him with their ore and pay him to process it.
Oh, wow.
And then it would be assayed. So for anyone who doesn't know what a stamp mill is, you'll be able to see it better on the 10 stamp over there when
Yeah.
you get there. But there are giant 1,000-pound stamps in here that crash up and down.
Right.
And you can see it crushes the rock into powder, basically. You can see it down here. And there were different ways that they would process the ore. Sometimes you'd see, like, these are copper tables, and they would coat everything in mercury, and the mercury would catch all the gold and silver, and there was lead in it.
Right.
And then they would just clean that off. It was called a retorting process, where they would get the gold and everything out.
Right.
Some of them just had sluice tables, which this also has kind of a sluice, where since the gold
It's heavier than it catches, right?
Yeah, so it catches in the ridges.
Right.
But you want the powder to be pretty fine.
Yeah, right.
That's how you get the most out of it. And even then, a lot of the time, they would process a lot of this later with cyanide and other pleasant chemicals.
Right, real friendly stuff.
and you'd get a lot more out of it.
Oh, of course. To my understanding, this is a kind of a special stamp mill where it has a function or an accessory that the other doesn't. You want to show us what that accessory is?
Yeah. Actually, that one does have the automatic feeder, which is really rare to find on a stamp mill.
Oh, so the two stamp doesn't have it. It's
No, they both do.
Oh, they both do.
Yeah. It's generally these were fed by hand.
Okay.
But it just so happens that both of our mills have automatic feeders, which is pretty much unheard of to have even one.
Wow.
So there's a big ore bucket up there. We have
there's the ore bin up there,
you can see.
and you got is this what's the belt made out of? It's not mesh. It's,
That is, I don't remember what this one is, but we take this off when we're actually using it because this belt is garbage.
okay.
And we have a.
So this is more decorative right now.
Yes, we have a retired USPS belt that we run it on.
Okay. All right.
But what happens with this is you don't want the level in here too high or too low.
Right.
And so you can see it on the other side. There's an arm that sort of catches, and when the ore gets low, then it'll kind of release a little bit more.
Shall we go around to the other side and you can show us that spring and catch?
Yeah.
Watch our heads here.
Now I do. Oh, okay. So what happens when the level of ore in here gets low, the stamp's gonna fall further, and you can see up there on the shaft. That when it gets low, it'll press this down, and as this gets pressed down, it'll release a little bit more ore into here.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. It really is. Well, maybe I should say it like Huel used to say, wow, that's amazing. Well, we're talking about gold and processing of gold, which a stamp mill was a very important ingredient into that process, of course. And they are rare. And Goffs has two, as Ryan said, that they have a 2 stamp and also a 10 stamp. Shall we take a quick John over to the 10 stamp and go over that real quick?
Sure. If you want to look really quickly here, just so you can see how they work, you can see those wooden beams that are sort of pulled back.
Yeah.
There's a piece that you put underneath those pieces at the top. They're called tappets.
Yeah.
And as those cams rotate, obviously they bring them up and down, but to hang and lower the stamps,
Yeah.
you put the key underneath So what you do is you put the key in there, and while you have the key, the cam comes around and lifts the tappet higher.
Okay.
And you push that wooden beam in underneath the tappet, so when it falls, it rests.
Right.
And same thing for pulling it out. You just put the key over it, and when it lifts a little bit,
Oh, neat.
you put the cam in and you pull back on it, and then the stamp will start raising and lowering.
Okay, sounds neat.
But these things,
I bet they're noisy, and they rock and quake quite a bit.
they do, and they're loud, but not as loud as you'd think. They're well within any noise restrictions.
Oh, good.
So
Nice. Well, let's take a quick jaunt over
despite
to
the fact
the.
we're in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because being quiet is important out here, where nobody lives, practically, except for those who are the caretakers of the museum. I'm going to take a quick jaunt over to the 10 stamp mill. This is really kind of a neat place. There's just a lot of neat artifacts that are kind of strewn about everywhere. So wherever you're looking, you're going to see a lot of neat things. So as we're walking to the 10 stamp, what's the more or less the brief history of Goff?
I know it started out sort of as a railroad camp, I think in the 1880s.
Okay.
And to be honest, I don't know exactly what was going on here. Oh, more stamp mill parts.
And steam whistles too. Let's get those going. That would be a real blast.
I'm sure someone out here would. If that's going to be your project, then do it.
Yeah, I've been helping out here while I've been staying for the weekend, so you know, kind of earned my keep.
So they, this was sort of a railroad town. It was a water stop, from what I understand. There's an old railroad cemetery at the edge of the property way over there.
Yeah. Go ahead, keep advancing, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Continue the tour.
And at some point, World War II, there was a big base out here, so the soldiers would come up. Supposedly there'd be dances and stuff up at the schoolhouse.
Okay.
It was kind of a social center
Right.
in the area. And then it sort of fell apart. It was abandoned for a while, and then Dennis Casey, I think in the late 80s, early 90s, got the property and turned it into this.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. This is really cool. Now we have a little bit of a head frame facsimile over there in a hoist house. And there's also an ore bucket hanging from there, and there's also an old lift. And we have a really neat old skip car just sitting on some tracks for those who might, you know, not know what that is. So they have a lot of neat exhibits. Let's come over out here. So that's the motor.
This is actually something I missed over there.
Uh-huh.
You have to crush the ore down enough to fit into the boxes in there before.
Oh, is this an ore
before you
crusher,
can
right?
process it. Yeah. This is one of a few that we have that functions. So this will get the ore to be the right size to go into the stamp mill.
Wow.
So they have this one processed. It dumps down here.
Okay, so they would load into a skip and then be hauled up the tracks
Take it up and it empties
into the bin.
into the bin, and you hope that the skip does not fall off the tracks.
Yeah, that would be bad news. Don't want that to happen. That's a lot of weight,
This
potential
mill,
money.
This mill also is from 1891. This
1891.
one, original bull wheels. The other
Original
one-
bull wheels. No kidding. Wow.
The other one, we have the original bull wheel, but it wasn't functional, so they built a new one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This was up in Montana.
Wow, this is a monster.
Yeah, so in this one you can see the stamps a bit better.
Yeah, you can see a lot more of what's going on here. The other one's a little more private about it. But yeah,
And
number 33,
You can see
Chicago.
on the stamps they're two pieces.
Yeah.
Those bottom ones are held in with wooden shims, and stamp mills run with a lot of water running through them.
Right,
So
so
what
they have to
happens-
replace those ever so often, right? Because they get
Yeah.
kind of soggy and rotted out.
Yeah, so the wood swells, and that's all that holds those in place.
Oh wow.
So they
So when they swell, then yeah. So okay.
And this mill's kind of finicky. We have some problems with the belt slipping. It's rare that we can get all 10 going without it starting to
Go into self-destruct.
not self-destruct. It doesn't want to keep going.
Oh well, you know she's an old lady. You know, 1891. She's up there. But hey, it's here, and it is amazing piece of mining history, and you know, it's just amazing to see this stuff intact, because a lot of those who follow mine explorers or ghost town explorers, they often see remnants of these things, and they're not always intact for a variety of reasons. they're either dismantled or torn down, or nature takes its course and falls down under nature's duress, or they are vandalized or stolen. But anyways, whatever the case is, Goffs has got some really fun stuff out here. You should come out and check it out. They're open on the weekends, and they have a fun little museum, and yeah, it's great. I like it out here. I definitely want to come back.
See the insides of what a lot of the stuff looks like.
Oh, okay. These are the stamps then. Okay. And there's the wood that you're telling us about there.
That's all that holds it in.
Wow. So those are the wood shims, and as they get wet, they swell, and then they hold the stamp in. That's a very basic and, you know, old school way of doing things, and it worked long enough to get the job done. So, but these are amazing. I mean, how heavy is one of those stamps? They gotta be,
I think they're about 1,000 pounds.
1,000 pounds each, and they're smaller than, well, heck. I mean, here's my hand. They're not that big, but 1,000 pounds each, that will crush rock.
And these are called shoes. These are the things that actually. So
These are the shoes.
These are disposable, essentially.
Okay.
You wear through them and then you replace them.
You replace them because, you know, rock is very hard and it'll chew them up, and you have to do that. Same with sharpening drill steel and all that stuff. So yeah, mining is a hard business, very taxing on your equipment. So, but hey, that's great. I really appreciate all the information, Ryan. This is really cool. I think all the viewers will enjoy this bit of information and knowing something about Goff and where it is and what it is. And it's out in Mojave, right?
Yeah, so nowhere is right there. That's the middle of nowhere. We're about 10 feet from there.
We're 10 feet from the middle of nowhere. That's good to know. Well, hey, if you want to spend your vacation or an afternoon in the middle of nowhere, come out here and check out Goffs and see what they got. They even have a forge and a blacksmith shop over here. So a lot of fun stuff. All right, friends, that's going to do it for me. And we'll be seeing you guys again soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.